Think about the last time you walked out of the room while your baby was watching. You were gone for 2 minutes, maybe 3. When you came back, they were crying. You picked them up, you soothed them, it passed, and you moved on, because that is what the first year looks like. You move on. There is always something next. But your baby's nervous system did not move on, it recorded it. Not as a memory, not as a grievance, but as data. A single point in an ongoing calculation their brain has been running since the moment they first opened their eyes and found your face. The calculation has one question at the center of it. When I need you, are you reliably there? The answer to that question, built from thousands of ordinary moments before your child can walk or speak, becomes the foundation their sense of safety is built on. And there are things you are doing every day, things that feel normal, things that feel like love from where you're standing, that are quietly giving your baby the wrong answer. 10 of them. That's what this video is about. Not to make you feel like you are failing, because you are not, but because you cannot adjust what you cannot see. And once you see these, the ordinary moments you've been moving through on autopilot will never look quite the same. If this is already making you see your baby differently, hit the like button and subscribe. It really helps. And drop a comment telling me how old your little one is right now. I love knowing who I'm talking to. Trust in an infant is not a feeling. It is a physiological state, a measurable quality of the nervous system's calibration toward either safety or vigilance. In the first 12 months of life, your baby's brain is constructing what developmental psychologists call the internal working model, a predictive system assembled from accumulated experience that answers again and again the same foundational question. When I signal a need, does the world respond? John Bowlby, who built the scaffolding that attachment science still stands on, described the primary caregiver as the baby's first environment, not the room they sleep in, not the mobile above the crib, you. Your consistency, your warmth, the quality of your attention when they call, that is the environment the developing brain is calibrating itself inside of. And environments shape brains. That is cellular biology, not metaphor. The window matters. The first 12 months carry developmental weight that no other period in childhood matches. This is not meant to frighten you. The brain retains plasticity far into childhood, and repair between a parent and baby is always possible and always worth doing. What it means is that the ordinary moments, the ones that feel too small to count, are counting, more than they will at any other point in your child's life. The first thing on this list is something that most parents do before their baby is 12 weeks old and continue doing without ever stopping to name it. You make a promise with your face that your presence doesn't keep. Your baby is on the floor in front of you. They look up, that total searching look that babies use before they have any other way to reach for you. And you look back, you smile, you meet them, and then your eyes drift to your phone screen, or to the thought that just surfaced, or to whatever was pulling at you before the look landed. Your baby keeps watching the space where your full attention just was. This is not neglect. This is what parenting an infant inside an actual human life looks like. The problem is not the drift itself. The problem is the gap it creates between what your face offered and what your presence delivered. Edtronics still face research at Harvard showed that babies as young as 2 months register the withdrawal of emotional engagement as a stress event. Heart rate shifts, cortisol rises. Not in a way visible to anyone watching from across the room, but the nervous system records it. Its job right now is to build the most accurate model it can of how reliably available you are. Every time the face says yes and the attention says something else, the model gets a data point. Data points accumulate. The pattern becomes the answer. The second thing happens most often in the moments you assume don't matter. You talk at your baby instead of to them. Diaper changes, feedings, moving from room to room. Your voice is present, but it is working. Almost done. Hold still. Come on, we're going. The words themselves are not wrong. The function is real. But a baby who cannot yet parse language is not processing your words. They are processing everything underneath the words, the temperature of your tone, the quality of attention behind it, whether the voice carries the specific warmth that says I am speaking to you, the person, and not to the task I am trying to complete. Patricia Cole's research at the University of Washington on early language acquisition found that the vocal quality caregivers use during genuinely engaged interaction, more melodic, emotionally present, tuned to the baby rather than the situation, activates the social cognition regions of an infant's brain in ways that flat, functional speech does not. The baby hears the difference. At the level of nervous system, they know whether the voice was for them. When the voice goes functional during caregiving, they file it. One more moment when I was present, and the response landed somewhere else. The third thing is one that every parent understands intellectually, and almost no one catches themselves doing in the moment. You respond to your baby's crying with a body that is already braced. Your shoulders tighten before you reach them. Your movements speed up rather than slow down. Your breathing shortens. You pick them up while your own nervous system is sounding an alarm, and your baby, whose co-regulation system is reading your physiological state in real time through the tension of your hands and the rhythm of your chest, receives the one signal most likely to extend their distress. The person who is supposed to make this okay is also not okay. A study from the University of California found that the most reliable predictor of successful infant soothing was not the technique a caregiver used. It was the caregiver's own physiological state during the attempt. Regulated parents soothed faster. Their nervous systems were transmitting safety. An activated nervous system transmits the opposite, regardless of how much love is behind the hands doing the holding. One breath before you pick them up. One slow, deliberate breath that brings you down a register before you bring them close. The difference in how they respond will tell you more about what they were receiving before than anything else can. The fourth thing is something nobody warns you about because it is disguised as efficiency. You rush through the moments that were built for connection. Bath time, the morning feed, the slow transfer into sleep. These are not tasks with a baby attached. They are, in the language of infant mental health, the primary site where the relationship is actually built. Researchers studying what they call serve and return interactions, the back-and-forth exchanges of attention and response that happen during caregiving routines, consistently identify these ordinary moments as the main engine of early brain development, not educational toys, not structured tummy time. The quality of attention during the bath. When you move through those routines on a clock, you are not just finishing the task faster, you are moving through one of the clearest windows through which your baby experiences being worth slowing down for. 2 extra minutes in the bath. Eye contact during the feed that has nothing behind it except you being glad to be there. That is not inefficiency, that is the relationship expressing itself in the only form available to it right now. If you're finding this helpful, please subscribe and turn on notifications. I upload new videos every week and I'd hate for you to miss one. Your support is what makes this channel possible, and it genuinely means the world to me. The fifth thing catches almost every parent off guard because it comes from attentiveness, not absence. You redirect your baby before they finish what they were doing. They are studying something, a shadow on the wall, the texture of a blanket, the sound their own hand makes when it hits the mat, and you move them because it is time for the next thing, or because you have a better idea, or because the thing they are absorbed in seems too small to matter to you. To their developing brain, that absorption is the whole world. Research on infant attention from the work of Jerome Bruner on early cognitive development found that a baby's capacity to sustain focus and follow their own curiosity is not a passive trait. It is built, repetition by repetition, through the experience of being allowed to finish. When the exploration is consistently interrupted, the message that accumulates is not about the object they were studying, it is about whether their inner experience is worth respecting. The sixth thing is the one that most parents genuinely cannot see without someone naming it directly. You respond to the behavior and miss the signal behind it. The fussiness, the clinginess, the sudden inconsolable crying 20 minutes after a feed. You address what is in front of you. You try to stop it, and the behavior is not the problem. It is a communication, and the communication has a source: overstimulation, a developmental shift putting pressure on the nervous system, the need for physical contact that has nothing to do with hunger or tiredness. When you respond to the source rather than the surface, something changes in what your baby experiences. They experience being read, being understood one layer below the obvious. That experience of having someone look past what you are doing and ask what you are feeling is what trust is made from. Now, think back to the moment described at the start of this video. The room you walked out of. The baby watching the door. You came back. You always come back. That is the truth you hold on to, and it is real. But your baby sitting in the quiet after you left was not holding on to that truth. They were sitting inside the uncertainty of not knowing yet whether you would. And the watching, the fixed, patient, almost eerie way a 7-month-old holds their gaze on the door you walked through, is not clinginess, it is the most sophisticated cognitive operation available to them. They are holding you in mind across the distance. They are doing it because their brain has developed just enough to know that you exist when you are not visible, and that the door is where you went, and that if you come back, the door is where you will come from. Sylvia Golden-Meadow's research on infant gaze behavior during separation found that babies who showed sustained attention to the exit point after caregiver departure were significantly more likely to be classified as securely attached in later assessments. The door watching was a marker of something healthy, not something broken. Your baby watching the door is not evidence of too much attachment. It is evidence of exactly the right amount. The question is what happens when you return. Because the return is where trust is either confirmed or quietly questioned. If you come back distracted, if you come back already moving to the next thing, if you come back and the reunion is functional rather than warm, your baby registered the wait, and then registered that the person who ended it didn't quite arrive. The calculus shifts, slightly, almost invisibly. But the nervous system is patient. It keeps its records over months, not moments. Come back like you mean it. That is the whole instruction. Make the return feel like something. The seventh thing is one that parents almost never identify as a trust issue because it looks like healthy boundaries. You say no without explaining what yes looks like. Your baby reaches for something they cannot have, and you redirect, remove, distract. That is appropriate and necessary. The problem is when the no is consistent and the yes is rare, when the baby's natural reaching toward the world is met with correction more often than with encouragement. Bruce Perry's research on early stress response systems found that babies whose environment produces frequent frustration without reliable pathways to success begin calibrating their exploration downward. They reach less, they try less. Not because they have learned the rules, but because the nervous system has learned that reaching tends to cost more than it returns. Every no needs a yes nearby. Not as a bribe, not as compensation, but as confirmation that the world is still worth reaching into. The eighth thing is the one that lives in the gap between what you feel and what you show. You love your baby completely and you demonstrate it rarely. The caring is constant. The logistics of keeping a small human alive consume every hour in both hands. But the pure expression of delight, the kind that has no function except to communicate itself, that says your existence in this world is the best thing that has happened to me, that gets squeezed out by everything else that needs doing. And your baby is building their earliest sense of self, not only from how they are cared for, but from whether they are enjoyed, from whether your face changes when they enter the room, from whether laughter visits your interactions freely, from whether there are moments in the day that exist for no reason except to be together. Research on positive affect sharing between caregiver and infant, the spontaneous mutual expression of joy during ordinary interaction, found it to be one of the strongest predictors of secure attachment, above and beyond consistent responsive caregiving. Being reliably responded to was not enough on its own. The babies who felt most securely held were the ones whose caregivers also, regularly and freely, let the love show. Let it show. The unremarkable Tuesday afternoon delight, the laugh that comes because they did something that surprised you, the long look that says nothing except that you are glad they are here. That is not indulgence, that is nutrition. It is what the developing sense of self is assembled from. The ninth thing is the hardest to talk about because it requires honesty about the hardest days. You are inconsistent in ways your baby cannot predict. Some days you are warm and fully present. Other days, for reasons that have nothing to do with them and everything to do with what is happening in your life, you are further away. Your baby cannot understand the reason. They can only experience the pattern, and a nervous system that cannot reliably predict its caregiver's availability is a nervous system that cannot rest. It stays alert, monitors, cannot fully settle into the security that exploration and development require. Mary Ainsworth's Strange Situation Research, one of the most replicated bodies of work in developmental psychology, showed that the attachment pattern most associated with anxiety was not one formed by cold or uncaring parents. It was formed by loving but unpredictable ones. The love was real. The inconsistency made it impossible to lean into. You cannot be perfectly consistent. No one is. But you can repair consciously. When you come back from a hard day, come back with intention. Make the warmth visible. Let the return be unmistakable. The 10th thing is the simplest and the most important, and it is the one that contains all the others. You underestimate how much your ordinary presence matters. The diaper change you got through. The feeding you survived half asleep. The morning you held them on your lap while staring at the ceiling because you had nothing left. Your baby was not measuring the quality of your performance in those moments. They were measuring whether you were there, whether the person their entire world is organized around showed up. And you did. You keep showing up. That is what trust is built from. Not the perfect moments, the consistent ones. The showing up when it is hard and unglamorous and you are running on nothing. Your baby is not waiting for you to be extraordinary. They are waiting for you to be reliable. And in the ways that matter most, you already are. The question this video has been asking from the beginning, can I count on you? Your baby is already answering it. In the way they settle when they hear your voice cross the room, in the way they bring you things just to share the moment, in the way they come back to you after exploring, touch base, and go again. They are already answering yes. Keep giving them reasons to. Thank you so much for being here until the very end. It means everything. If this video changed how you see your baby even a little, please share it with another parent who needs to hear it. Check out the videos on your screen now. I think you'll love them. And subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you in the next one.